we can see that it gets us these values right here as a JSON. Right now we have to convert this into, now this will be a string at the point when we get it. You can see it to string because we're reading it as a string. We want to convert it into a proper Dart map. In order to do that, we have to JSON and decode blah blah blah, and we pass in the JSON, right? But now we in our application where I'm gonna have several models, not only one. So when we're testing all of them, we want a generic way of converting our JSON fixture files into actual JSON strings, right? So for that reason, we're going to come into our fixture reader and we're going to create a string fixture function. It will take the path, let's call that a file name rather, because we know the path is going to be test fixtures and then something. So file name or something, like file path, or file name. Let's go with file name. Means that, and we can go ahead and return this, right? So test fixtures file name, and that's it. And for you, my friend, we return the Dart.io. So we generally wouldn't be able to use this across our tests. This is why we're creating a new file for it called fixture reader. So inside of our data, this place, we can create, let me go ahead and create this up top because a lot of other people will be using them. Like a lot of other functions will be using them. So up top, I'm actually just going to create this. I'm going to call this final toJson will be equal to fixture, right? And we're going to give it user.json. And we have a map, final tmap will be equal to JSON and decode the toJson as data map. Right, so these should work. So this one would be a map string dynamic, and this one would be a raw JSON. We can go ahead in here and say, and start by acting, right? So because we've already arranged, so our action will be final result will be user model.fromMap. What map are we giving to it? We're taking the tmap, right? Tmap, where I'm going to expect that the result equals the T model, the test model. So we want to make sure that it's equal to the test model, which is actually going to fail, right? So when this is what we're saying essentially, do you get me a user model from the map that we've given to you, this map, right? This map right here, right? And when you get that, expect that its result is equal to this model over here. But then remember that this model's values, it has created that to be empty, created that, it has empty name to be that, empty avatar, the rest of them, right? So when we actually run that test, it's going to fail. Let's go ahead and run that because they're different, right? No, I think I've run the wrong test. Blah, blah, blah. No. No, it's actually going to pass. I'm so sorry. The reason why it's going to pass is because over here we're only using the ID, right? So let's go ahead and use everything else. So the name and the avatar. Yeah, so all of them must be the same. So remember, the reason why it was passing is because over here we have in the empty we have 1, and also in the fixture we have 1 as the ID. So when their IDs were the same, it was passing. The test was passing even though it was in the same thingy. So for that reason, we're going to change that, and we want to make sure so we can see that the first one passed, this one, but this one isn't passing because they're not the same, because the name is actually Lucille Dooley. We've got Lucille Dooley and we've got empty avatar, and over here we've got some avatar from Cloudflare. Oh, I don't know, I don't want to open that up, I don't know what's in there. Might be Santa. So we go into equals and we now try to change this. So it means that our JSON, we're not going to give it these generic things. We're actually just going to go into our user model. Where is it? User model. Copy these over. Empty creator that. Empty creator that. That's the wrong one, mate. this one's going to be empty avatar, and you, my friend, are going to be empty ID. So for the creator that, I'm actually going to leave the empty creator that as that. Sorry, Control Z, copy. The ID will be 1 because in our user model we've got 1 for the ID. So I'm going to close that out. Right, a bot. Oh. So inside of our test, this test is actually still going to fail because over here we've got this date. Then inside of our user model we've got a weird date. We've got empty date, empty creator that. We don't want that. So we're actually going to what do we do? Should we copy this over? Let's just copy that over. Let's copy this one over as well. Boom. Paste. And that's done. So let's go ahead and run the test again. It should pass this time because everything's the same basically. No, there's a problem. Empty name, empty avatar. So, oh my day. So this is the problem, right? The order. So when we call a fromMap, we're actually expecting that. Let's go ahead and see. So the name, what is this one? What's that one? The ID, the name, and the avatar. So the name for my expected, in this case, the expected is this. The expected is this one, this, and the result is this one. So basically, my name was my name was rather created that. So let me go ahead and change that. Yeah, it should be name rather. So the name is name. So we want to make sure that whatever we receive from the server is going to be the same as what we have in the model after we're done. So this is essentially what we've done. We've got the data from the server, and this is the data we get from the server, right? And we're simply saying, create me a user model from that map that we got from the server, right? And expect that it will be the same as do you know what? Let's just go ahead and create a user model from that. So we can say that we expect it will be the same as this, as the data from the server. Right, this is what we're doing. The reason why I was trying so much to match the data on the server with the user model's empty data was because I didn't want to have to create a user model in the equals in order to get it to match. I just wanted to have one T model and make sure that they match, like whatever data we get there matches this. So I don't have to create this to match, create a new one to have to match the server's stuff, right? So this way we just have one generic T model and we just make sure that the server's data is equal to that. And when we call the equals expectation, right, the result will turn out to be equal to the T model because in our user we've actually created an equal, and we've actually overridden the Boolean operator, in this case using the ID, the name, and the avatar, right? So when we do that, we're expecting that the user model that we've got over here will simply be equal to whatever we have in the results that we got from here. I don't know if you understood that, but hope you do. Group. Let's go to the next group. The next group will simply be the toMap. No, the fromJson rather. We're essentially going to do the same thing, so I'm just going to copy this over because I'm lazy. Return a user model with the right data, and this time it's going to be the fromJson, and it's going to be toJson. We run that. Once again, we pass the tests because it works, because we're expecting that the results we get from this will take the JSON that we've got over here and create a user model from it, right? It will create a user model by taking its avatar ID created that name and giving them to these. And then finally we check if the thing that it created is equal to the empty one, right? And it will work because in our server we're making sure we're hijacking the server response here and making sure that it's actually the same as the other thingy. So again, I hope you understand that. Let's move on to toMap. So we have the group toMap, and for this one we're going to say final results will be equal to T model toMap, and we can expect that the result equals our tmap, because the user model's empty. The t model is actually empty, and the tmap, we're expecting that when we call toMap for it, it will simply match exactly what we have in the test map from the server. In this case, which will be this. Where is it? The user.json, because we've actually made sure that it's the same thing. But this test is going to fail. Watch how it fails. Search. Yes. So this test is failing because oh, sorry, what's the problem? Go ahead and run. So this test is failing because what is the problem? It failed to load user model test instance of an outside test exception. Oh, we haven't put this in a proper test. I'm so sorry. I was expecting this to fail, but not that sort of failure. Return a map with the right data. Yeah, so once again, this is going to fail, right? Let's see. It does not fail. Really? Are your maps equal? Let's go ahead and see if the maps are equal. I was actually thinking the maps weren't equal. Whereas the user models map, it's going to be ID avatar created at name. ID. So the reason why I thought that was going to fail was before, when I wrote tests like this, the map equality, so checking if the maps were equal, would fail if the order of the keys and the values of the order of the entries were different than the order in the other operand. So in this case, we have two. We have this toMap, the map from this, and the map that we derived from this. It usually was failing whenever they had a different order. So if ID came first in here, and in the toMap ID came last, then they wouldn't work, right? It would usually failed for me. So somehow it's working. I think Dart fixed it. They fixed the map equality. So let's go ahead and also do one for toJson. Let's be happy. toJson. Should we just copy this one over? toJson will basically do the same thing, but we just copy that over. No, copy the entire test. Should return a JSON string with the right data to JSON, and then this one, the result will be equal to the toJson. Let's go ahead and run that test. It should pass. And there we go. There's a failure. It expected creator that. So you see what I mean? So it wanted. So in this case, yeah. So this was where it used to fail in the toJson section. So because it wanted their order to be the same. So if ID came first, it expected ID to be first in this one. In this case, it's different because ID was created at. Right, so let's go ahead and change that. Let's make sure that we follow the server model. So the toMap model. So it's ID avatar created at a name. ID avatar created at a name. So let's go ahead and run that once again. And let's see. So this time they fixed the map quality. Now we're struggling with this one, with the JSON equality. So ID avatar created that. Finally name. So what's the problem here? Different at offset 1. Really? Really? What's the problem? Equals toJson. Let's go ahead and see. So the toJson will simply encode the map. What is your problem if it has next lines? So the expected actually had next lines. The expected is this one, a toJson. Yeah, that's not working. So let's go ahead and just create our own JSON over here. So let's go ahead and I'm going to copy this over. Right. Go over here. Final toJson will be equal to JSON encodes this object. So that way you can get your new lines. So we can expect that it's equal to toJson. Let's hope that works. Let's hope that works. And now it works because it wanted new lines. Dart, you're asking too much of me. So no, that's not all. That's not all. Why am I closing up my file?